Hi, I'm Michelle Bursell, psychotherapist and creator of the Feel Every Emotion as Love process. And I'm here with you today to talk to you about something you may not want to talk about, but it's very important. And that's what I'm here to do, is to bring things up that are unconscious, impacting our lives, and make it conscious so that we can live more emotionally vibrant. And what's coming up this time of year, for many of you, it is fall. It means it's back to work, back to getting really focused, and that means, how is your relationship with discipline serving you, and how could it be hindering you? Because we tend to have us go to different ends of the spectrum. One end over here that loves discipline, loves being focused because you get things done, and this other end of the spectrum where we love just being able to have our own sense of freedom and our own sense of being able to go through life not so restricted by discipline, okay? And what we really want to find is our middle ground. And our middle ground, as in with all our relationships, that's where we're going to have emotional vibrancy. So it's really looking at what are the shadow sides to each end of the spectrum, so that you don't hide out in one end or the other, or do what I do, which is the tendency to go back and forth if I'm not being consciously aware of my relationship with discipline. This is really important. Again, gives you emotional vibrancy, and more importantly, you'll be able to get things done in a joyful way. So let's look at these different ends of the spectrum with our relationship with discipline. One end over here. This is the side of us that likes to get things done, likes to be focused, and it's served you, right? This is where you've been able to attain your goals by being very focused. The shadow side to this is that you become so overly focused. You deplete yourself, or you deplete an area of your life. If you deplete yourself, you can be like me and go to the other end of the spectrum and say, I'm not going to be focused anymore, right? And then we swing back and forth because we need to find that middle ground. Now, on the other side over here is where we want a sense of freedom, and discipline can feel very restrictive, especially if you've came up with a life that felt overly strict. Discipline can be like that four-letter word that you're like, no, and you really reject that sense of discipline. The shadow side to this is that it really can be a place where we go and distract ourselves. We can free float from one thing to another, or we avoid what we're really being called to do. And so if we stay over on this side of the spectrum, we don't have enough discipline to really be able to bring forward what we want to in our life. And so again, the middle ground is being able to bring in both sides and to do it in a joyful way. Now, how do we find this middle ground? Well, what's interesting is I started looking at this word discipline, and what came on it was kind of this play on words, where I saw in the word discipline, disciple in. Disciple in actually fits in discipline. And I was shown this disciple in, and this disciple meaning, how we have a set of beliefs that we prescribe to. And how we really follow these beliefs, whether we're aware of it or not. And I really saw how all our actions are either you being a disciple in love or you being a disciple in fear. All of us do this, again, and if we're unconscious, it's usually because we are being a disciple in fear. And so really seeing for yourself, if you're a person that likes to, get that focus and get those goals on, that's coming from a place of love. You're inspired, you are passionate, you are taking action, and that is beautiful. And it's looking at, though, when do you shift into becoming a disciple in fear, which means that you make yourself keep going to an extent where it's harming you, where it no longer feels good, because your ego is saying, if you don't keep up at this pace, everything's going to fall apart. If you're not so strict with yourself, you won't be able to lose the weight you want. Where that ego is coming in from a fearful place, telling you you have to go to an extreme level to get what you want. Then you're no longer operating from that place of love that wants you to be healthier, that wants you to be productive and of service in a loving way that really honors who you are, okay? Now, the same over here is that it does feel good to our spirit to have freedom. It does feel good to our spirit to be able to have pleasure and creativity. Those are so important, and so many people need that. However, when does it turn from you enjoying this sense of freedom and being able to create to you avoiding, and it's you becoming a disciple in fear because you're really afraid of what it would be like for you to really go after your dream and make it happen in this reality? That one that gives excuse after excuse as to why it's better to play than actually go after something that you really desire. And that's a fear that you either can't have it or can't create it, and that's when the ego is coming in on this side. So I hope this serves you to have this play on words, to become conscious of when you're swinging on one side of the spectrum or the other, and really become aware, am I operating from a place of love or am I operating from a place of fear? So until next time, wishing you a healthy and beautiful relationship with the gift of discipline, and wishing you to live emotionally conscious and exceptionally well.